Catherine. I'm a nurse. I've been qualified 13 years this year, I think. I started my career at Adam Brooks as a neonatal nurse, and then I worked there for a year. Then I went to adult intensive care and worked there for 10 years, and managed to get myself a promotion. And then I've just recently, in the last couple of years, moved into general practice. And I've been working as a practice nurse there for about 2 years.
Well, it almost sounds a bit like climbing ladders, doesn't it? What's wrong with that child?
Barnes.
So, Lauren, what's interesting about your story is, you said how long have you been a nurse now?
13 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
So, you've seen a lot of changes over the time, haven't you?
Yeah, when I started, there was a job shortage. So I had to relocate to Cambridge for a year. And you just filled in a generic application and off you went. So I moved down there, moved away from my family, moved away from my now husband.
Well, it's been lovely.
Yeah, it was nice. And Cambridge is lovely, and they, it really set me up, I suppose, in, what's been my career so far.
Yeah.
And then after a year, I wanted to come home, so moved back here, and I applied for a nursing post at Nottingham. Really was desperate for the job, really wanted to come back home.
Why?
So,
what, because of family?
Yeah, and just, Adam was coming down to me and I was coming back here, so I'd never really felt like I had a base, I suppose. And because I trained as an adult nurse and I worked in neonatal, I thought, well, I either stay here or I go back to what I trained to do. So I knew intensive care was where I wanted to be after only doing a 2-day placement.
Let me just ask you something. Why on earth would you want to be in A&E?
ITU.
ICU?
Yeah.
ABC? I don't care what you call it. Why on earth do you want to be in it?
Because you're at the top of your, nursing skills. You can't get any more technical working in ITU.
Oh, right. Well, take us through that then. Why? What is it? What is it about the job? What you saying being at the top?
So obviously, there's a variety of things what you deal with in ITU. You're looking after patients who are at the worst of their worst. They've either had they've had an accident and they've ended up in ITU on a ventilator. They've got conditions where they need life support, so on a ventilator, on a dialysis machine. They need drugs to keep them alive. They've got lines in. You can't get any sicker than an intensive care patient. So you've got that constant 12.5-hour shift. You're on your feet. You're looking after those patients that potentially are on a life edge.
Is it really as on it?
Oh yeah, 100%. Some days not so much, but yeah, and I worked in a team of about 200 people, and you needed 16 staff a shift to keep those people alive.
Wow.
And you're managing. Well, as I stayed there for 10 years, and I got a deputy sister's post, and before I left, I was managing, the ins, the outs, the staffing problems, making sure there was enough staff. And so yeah, it's a great place to work, a good place to start your nursing career.
But how does that work? When you say you're looking after the staff and everything else, where did you get the extra staff from, if you were short?
Agency. So we used a lot of agency staff, probably not as much as they did obviously over the pandemic. A lot of staff would do overtime, and you just a lot of people would be willing to swap shifts, so you'd be off, taking people off certain shifts to fill that shift at the time, and then dealing with that days down the line. So you're just robbing Peter to pay Paul, moving staff around different areas.
Yeah.
And hoping that those people would turn up.
Well, what was so appealing about the job? Because like you say, intensive care, it sounds awful.
It sounds awful.
Well, it does, doesn't it? Because you get to see all sorts of
do you know
damage.
what, Steve? I don't really know. I just feel like that was where I was meant to be, and it was the best 10 years of my life. I went.
Spider-Man now.
Oh, lovely!
Spider-Man.
Oh, look at that.
Spider-Man, look at that.
Oh,
That's fantastic.
Adore this.
Wow, it's a rainbow Spider-Man. That means something, doesn't it? Nowadays, I don't
put it
know.
down, put it down.
Wow, look at you.
We, what was I saying? Yeah, so I spent 10 years there, obviously I keep saying, but I went through a lot of my growing up there. You know, I got married, I had children, and every time I just kept going back after I've had the kids, and I just felt like it was me. And
But how did you used to, I mean, because like you say, so now you've got children and you got yourself married. Yeah, that must have been a lot of pressure on you, you know, within that unit, the IC unit. How did you cope?
I need to still correct.
go on then.
What's she going to do now?
I have no idea.
Leave him, carry on.
How did I cope? I mean, the team around, you know, the team are amazing. They're like your second family. They're just, yeah, they get you through the really horrendous days, and, you know, actually you find sense of humour in things you probably shouldn't find funny, just because that is the only way that you survive.
Right.
And I think unless you're in that environment with those people, it's hard to explain.
Right.
And actually looking now at how the nurses have gone through this pandemic, when it was tough when I wasn't there, so I just cannot imagine what this last year has been like for them.
Well, what have you been doing then?
So I helped out a little bit. I only in the first wave. I'd been left for 10 months, and obviously then we went into lockdown, didn't we? And then the first wave came, and I just felt like I had to go back.
Did you feel it was your duty?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and my mum was saying to me, I don't want you to go.
Right.
And Adam was saying to me, you just do what you've got to do.
Yeah, see, that's a man thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and...
Yeah, I'll go out and drink a bit more, don't worry, don't I'll be fine.
Yeah, just do what you've got to do. And I just had this overwhelming guilt that I should have been there. And actually, you know, I left 10 months prior to that.
Finished it.
Woohoo!
Fantastic! Look at you! You've done a bit more on that. You look like a Superman. Do you know that?
What else can you go and draw? Where's Harry Potter?
Okay.
God.
I love these little deflection techniques. Where's Harry Potter? Come on, get out of it.
And then, yeah, so I went over Easter and I worked the Good Friday, because we opened over bank holiday. So I worked the Good Friday in the GP surgery, worked the Saturday and the Sunday on ITU, and then went back to GP land. So
Are they all separate sets of skills though?
completely different. And actually, when I went back, I felt like I had no idea what was going on. It was unrecognisable.
Wow.
There was that many staff. I didn't know who was who. You can't recognise anybody's face. But actually, the staff that were there that I knew were just so amazing, and can't believe you've come back, and thank you so much. And it was just, yeah, I won't forget it. No,
that must be an experience to have lived through, you know.
Yeah.
Knowing that you've come out and then gone back.
Yeah, it was odd. It was really odd. And the way that we looked after patients when, you know, pre-COVID to the way that they were looking after them then.
What was the difference then? I mean, how was the difference?
Well, they were obviously the PP for a start. So I'd been in there an hour, because you go in, you put your PP on, and then you go into the unit. The handover was, everybody's got COVID, as normally it would be an individual, that patient's got so-and-so, da-da-da. So everybody had COVID. And one of the things that really frightened me was we're running out of, I think it was propofol or fentanyl, which is a sedative. I can't remember which drug it was, but it is what keeps people on the ventilator. So it was like, oh, right, okay. What happens when that has gone? So that was frightening. And then about half an hour in, I thought, I don't think I can keep this mask on. I literally can't breathe.
Sand now. Sand.
Sand. Lovely. Sit there then. That's it.
Sand. Look at this. This child is industrious, isn't he?
Green one.
Green sand.
Green.
Bods, go and play.
We don't want yellow sand,
why
alright?
don't you
Leave
go-
that there.
Go and put your sand in there, look. Don't want sand in here. And so yeah, the PPE was pretty horrendous. And the patients were kind of in cubicles, you know, and you just kind of went in when you needed to and came back out. So wearing lots of 2 sets of gloves, and
How did it make you feel, you know, being part of that?
I was petrified. But then I felt really guilty for feeling petrified because those people had to go back every single shift knowing full well what they were going to, you know, or not knowing what they were going to go into, but actually, and then having the fear of getting COVID at the same time, you know, and some of my friends weren't seeing their children because they were frightened of giving it to them, and they were living separately, or scary.
How did you feel about this? Because this is just in Newark the other day. They had called the police. Yeah, they had one of the testing units come down. He's back. Look at him. Look. What have you got now?
Sand.
I'm still
Sand
waiting.
is-
I don't know about you, but I'm waiting for Harry Potter. Where's the Harry Potter drawing?
Don't know.
Oh,
Don't know. Get on it.
go
quick.
on, quick.
I'll send Hedwig in there. Don't worry. Sort him out. Double door. I get Snape. Snape was the one for me. He used to frighten the. I tell you.
Oh, we'll
He's
get
on
him onto that. Get him
Oh
onto
my
that.
goodness me.
You were in Newark. And
Yeah, so we were in Newark, and it kicked off in town. Yeah, they had one of the testing units there, and a group of anti-COVID rioters came down. But there were 12 of them.
Okay.
How does it make you feel when you've got people that are ignorant to the fact of COVID?
Makes me angry, but then, you know, I really believe that, you know, the people that think that it doesn't exist should go and have a tour of the hospitals and see, you know, actually what it's like. And it's not a hoax, it's very real, and people have, you know, not been able to see their loved ones. You know, just the thought of, I've had patients that have said, you know, my relative's been taken into hospital and that was the last time that I saw them.
Oh,
You know, so I think you have to put yourself in other people's shoes and think, what happens if that was me, or what happens if that was my husband or my child, or, you know, whether it's, you know, they believe it's a hoax or not, they need to re-educate themselves. Where are they getting this information from? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It beggars belief, doesn't it? Because it is very much real, and if you speak to the whole of the NHS staff that had to go through this in the last year, they can assure you it's not real.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. You know, you hear all the reports and everything else, and yet you get leaflets saying the government are lying. They're trying to control you, and this and that. And, and you're like, wow.
And I think regardless of what you think of the government, or what you think, you know, what your opinions are, at the end of the day, I think as working in the NHS, you just have to put one foot in front of the other and do your job. You know, whether you like the government or not, you know, at the end of the day, we have a job to do.
Well, you took an oath anyway, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Did you not?
No.
Oh, you guys don't take that?
No. What we do is we have a code of conduct, which is, you know, when you join the NMC register, the Nursing and Midwifery Council register, when you qualify, and every year you have to pay a subscription to stay on the register. You are then, you know, you are bound by the code of conduct, and you have to behave in, you know, in the way that they basically state. So if you break those rules, or, you know, then you risk your PIN number, which is what every nurse gets when they qualify.
Oh, good heavens.
So yeah.
So it's a bit like you say, with the army, the air force, you know, with the forces and everything else. Then.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Apart from we have to pay.
Yeah, we didn't. I never had to pay. No. So, I paid with my service and my time.
We have to pay £120 a year.
Oh right. So wait a minute. If you don't pay.
Yeah, you can't work.
Oh, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got you then.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh dear. No, well, okay. So what now then? I mean, because you've done your stint and everything else.
Yeah.
And it frightened the life out of you.
A little bit, yeah. But I'm glad I did it, and you know, I'm really proud of NUH and especially the IT unit. I think they've done amazing, and they've come out of it the other side now.
Yeah.
And now I'm in GP land, which is totally different.
General practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's okay.
So what does that mean for you now then, being in GP land?
So it means better hours.
Oh.
So Monday to Friday, no weekends, no nights.
What if somebody needs you?
Then they need to go to A&E.
I was looking at a caring nurse. Then all of a sudden, now it's turned into a
you know when you go out and someone will say it's all right. There's a nurse here, and you think, oh no, don't say that. You've just jinxed it.
Yeah, don't.
But no, it's so yeah.
So regular hours.
Regular hours, yeah. Totally different type of nursing. You know, obviously it's secondary care, so you don't get the acute things like you do when you're in hospitals. But we still get patients arrive poorly and need an ambulance, so we're just bridging that gap between, you know, the community and the hospital. And here we go, Superman.
He's back. What we got now?
Lovely. And what's that one?
My Spider-Man.
Oh, that's another Spider-Man. I'm still waiting for Harry Potter.
Well, I couldn't find it. I can't find it.
What do you think to Mummy's new job? Well, not new. We've been there a few years now. What do you think? Is it better now Mummy's at home?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, can you remember what it was like when I had to go to work in the middle of the night at 6 o'clock before you went to bed?
Yeah.
Can you remember what did you used to do? And you used to have to go.
Yeah.
What did you and Teddy used to do? You used to cry, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, and then I'd come home and you'd have gone, wouldn't you? You'd have gone to nursery, and then I wouldn't see them for about 3 days.
Oh, that long?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's nice because I come home at tea time, and you're home, aren't you? And then I can put you to bed, and then I can take you to nursery again the next day.
Yeah! You like all that then, yeah?
Is it better?
So, are you seriously telling me there isn't a time when you wish you were back there doing it? They get on my nerves, these kids.
If I hadn't got children, I think I'd still be there now.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I do get that.
It was becoming impossible really, and Adam and I were like passing ships in the night, and he had to, you know, if the kids weren't very well in the night, it would be down to him to sort it out. And
good, about time.
Yeah.
Harry Potter.
You've seen Harry Potter. And then, you know, there was the pinnacle point was we couldn't remember the last time we'd actually all been in the car together.
YouTube.
On YouTube. You're going to be on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You are.
And I think we'd gone to do the shopping after school or something one night, and I said to him, can you remember the last time we actually all went somewhere together? And it was something like 3 months, because I was working the weekends, I was off in the week, and then they were at nursery or at school, and then
it's incredible, isn't it?
And then I'd just go to work at the weekends, and that would be that. So yeah, it came to a point where we just something had to give, and unfortunately it was that. But life is easier now, but I do miss it a lot. Maybe one day I might go back.